Alright, so what's up guys, Houndish here. Today we are jumping in with more Destiny 2 news and Edge of Fate updates. And as we've seen over the past week, whether we're excited by the content or not, Bungie are definitely starting to ramp up just a little bit in terms of pre-launch info. Today we get a look at yet another new armor set coming in Edge of Fate. We'll also talk about some new set bonuses which have been revealed. Additionally though, Bungie give clarification regarding a handful of changes in Edge of Fate. They talk about gear tier sources, feedback regarding the new content, and a handful of other things which we'll round up in the video. So if you guys enjoy this one, a rating very much does help us out on the channel down below. Otherwise though, now let's get into it. And starting out, following a bunch of armor reveals that Bungie have done over the past few days, there was actually another set which they show off in a new video, as highlighted here by Bungie Leaks. Potentially, this could be a new armor set for the season pass. We can see it has this sort of infected look, kind of somewhere between roots and mold, making its way over these armor pieces, which is definitely interesting. Think it will be an acquired taste. There's also a video here showing some emotes with the Guardians wearing this armor set, and given that Bungie haven't said where it will come from, that's why the assumption is that it will be from the season pass, because of course earlier in the week they showed off a new stone Guardian ornament set, which will be a silver only set at launch but available for Bright Dust later next season. Otherwise they also showed a Vex Lo-Fi set of armor, very Vex Network vibes. There's also a Fighting Lion ornament that pairs up with those very nicely. Again, that will be an Eververse set. Plus they did actually show some playlist armor, the trial stuff for the Warlock, a new Crucible set on the Hunter right here, and then Titan wearing a set from Pinnacle Ops. On that subject though, BC1207 on Reddit pointed out there should be 7 confirmed armor sets for Edge of Fate right now. That will be the Trial set, the Crucible Ops set that we just showed, as well as the Pinnacle set, but there's also the TechSec armor, which will come from Fireteam Ops, 2 different versions of the Aeon set, which are linked to Kepler, and one of the versions will come by playing Tier 5 world content, I believe. But finally there is the Raid set as well, and we don't know about bonuses for all of those sets, but the Last Discipline set, which will come from Crucible Ops, has a 2-piece perk called Terminal Velocity, where primary kills grant enhanced reload speed, and a 4-piece perk called Power Loader, where Orbs of Power grant special ammo progress. Obviously, those perks are designed specifically for Crucible, so slightly less broken sounding than some of the other options. The Bushido set, which is the Pinnacle Ops armor set here, has a 2-piece perk where kills with freshly drawn and reloaded weapons heal you, and a 4-piece perk where kills with bows, swords, or shotguns provide damage resist, and damage with these weapons prolongs the effect. Then there is the Aeon Renewal and TechSec bonuses. We have spoken about those ones previously, so we won't go into all of the details. But overall, set bonuses on top of mods, exotic perks, everything in the subclasses, and the new stat system will definitely make armor more interesting in terms of build, so give us your thoughts on any of those down below. Another interesting thing Bungie spoke about the other day is a new mod called Temporal Adapter, and Mactix asks what on earth does this mean? As the perk description says, ready in the weapon grants it bonus stability, handling, and reload speed for a moderate duration, which is borrowed from an alternate timeline version of the weapon. Bungie simply said you'll have to wait and see on launch day exactly what that means. Although it's very similar to the description of the No Time to Explain perk, Time Slip, where at 10 stacks of rewind again, a small portal will open shooting bullets from an alternate timeline version of the weapon. So I guess it's somewhat inspired by something similar to that. Some final bits from socials worth mentioning here though. On the subject of feedback and who Bungie get involved with previews related to Destiny, DMG said the only folks we don't invite to the conversation are those who can't hold respectful exchanges when giving feedback, or those who lean into hateful rhetoric that goes against our studio pillars and code of conduct. I've seen numerous presentations quoting negative reception or conversation, and we've held direct chats with a ton of folks who had critical feedback to make sure we understood the core of their words. We continue to listen, adapt, and change based on voices we find through the community. Of course, we celebrate wins and appreciate positive commentary on what you truly enjoy about Destiny, but we don't actively ignore critical feedback or solely focus on those who say positive things. And of course, because we see Bungie talking on social media with creators and more of the positive voices in the community generally, obviously, that can give an impression that that kind of feedback and conversation is more appreciated than other types of more critical feedback, but I guess there is a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Ultimately though, that is Bungie's conversation, so share your thoughts below. Otherwise, once again, I'd like to reiterate, those nonary engrams that we have at the Emissary can actually drop a bunch of items which wasn't in my recent preview, because the full perk pool isn't actually visible. You can see a few things right here which have dropped from that engram, with the exception of the emblem in the second column, as that's actually a Ride of the Nine one. But otherwise, all of the cosmetics there did come from the nonary engrams, so again, if you have spare currency, it's worth visiting the Emissary to pick those up. Otherwise, in relation to Kepler and higher tier loot, Bungie did say in a recent blog, where do I start to obtain higher gear tiers? And they said you'll begin the journey on Kepler earning tier 1 gear with a focus on gaining power, and you'll earn new weapons and slowly begin to find occasional tier 2 gear as you unravel Kepler's mysteries. But upon completing major accomplishments or raising your seasonal power, you'll earn permanent upgrades to Kepler's reward tiers. Across Kepler, gear can be acquired via chests, exploration and uncovering secrets, playing campaign missions, and by focusing engrams with local resources. Once the campaign is completed, new difficulties will be unlocked for replay accessing higher gear tiers, and post-campaign activity will appear from time to time, providing even more Kepler loot while it lasts. So I'm guessing that's the same activity that Bungie referred to as a timed event on the destination where we'll be able to farm exotic armor. So it will be interesting to see that tier 5 grind on Kepler. Obviously there will be one at some point, but I would imagine it will be at least a couple of weeks after Edge of Fate launches before we really start getting access to that stuff. On the subject of exotics though, given that Bungie said the new activity on Kepler, which appears on the map as a sort of flashpoint, is going to be a source to farm additional rolls of the new exotic armor pieces, given that those exotics will initially drop from the campaign, I would take that as a soft confirmation that Raoul will not be responsible for selling the exotics this time around. So obviously it isn't necessarily 100% confirmed, but that's certainly the impression I'm getting. So if you haven't got a stack of exotic engrams right now, honestly I wouldn't sweat it because we're going to get them by playing the campaign, and then there's an activity specifically designed for farming Kepler related loot, including the exotics. So keep it in mind, although if you have exotics stacked up at the moment, probably worth just holding on to them anyway. For today guys, that is what we have to speak about. I had started putting together a sort of fan Vidoc for Kepler and Edge of Fate, obviously made from Bungie materials, the different dev inside videos they put out. I was hoping there'd be a third dev inside video this week, but we didn't get it just yet. So for the moment, here's my mashup of the video bits Bungie have done as a sort of unofficial Vidoc. You can check it out if you want right here. If you've enjoyed the video, a rating very much helps us out. Otherwise, I hope you guys have an awesome day.
The gift is showing you what you must see. It is your fate.
So Kepler's a place touched by the Nine, concealing a lot of secrets and danger. And it's somewhere that human scientists traveled to a long time ago to research a dormant singularity. While living on Kepler, not only did they observe the collapse, they survived it. And over time, the ideals of the scientific process they held to were enshrined in their culture, and they came to be known as the Ionians. The Elixni House of Exile arrived during the Dark Age, weary from the Long Drift. They didn't invade Earth with the other Elixni houses. Instead, they sought a new home, which they found alongside the Ionians. But the dark matter that permeates Kepler and that they converted into the ether they need to survive ended up being toxic. So when the Ionians failed to cure them, the house rose up under an archon claiming to be blessed with prophetic sight. Now, the House of Exile is full of zealots, and they'll stand opposed to the Guardian as they walk the winding pathways of Kepler, learning more about what called them there in the first place. Guardian's paracausal power acts as a catalyst for the normally corrosive force of dark matter. These new powers will allow them to unlock long sealed passageways for the Ionians as they make their way to the singularity at the core of the planetoid.
Kepler. You've never been there, and you know every inch of it. It's the farthest either of us have been from home, in distance or in time. You're gonna get a call. An invitation only you can answer. And you'll say yes. They arranged it so you would never say no.
So from the start, we focused on building Kepler as more of a dungeon-like destination. It expands on the interconnected world design of places like the Leviathan or the Shattered Throne.
As you fight your way across Kepler, you tap into dark matter abilities and unlock enemy tech that expands your navigation and aids you in combat. These are all about going places you would normally think are out of reach.
Matterspark has you turn into this wild ball of arc energy. It's like nothing we've done in Destiny before. The Mattermorph ability lets you twist the objects in the world around you.
With Relocator, you've essentially co-opted the Fallen's teleportation networks and can use it to cross gaps you wouldn't have even considered before.
It'll be the small tells, an open vent, a broken window, things you want to remember because you might be revisiting them later.
Abilities can be upgraded, so as you unlock new perks, you can chain them into your build crafting in clever ways.
By far the most game-changing is one of Matterspark's upgrades. On Kepler, it lets you turn into Matterspark the same way you'd summon a sparrow, wherever and whenever. It will optimize not only exploration, but also combat on future playthroughs in super creative ways. There are tons of cool combinations. You can suspend an enemy with Mattermorph, bend a path up toward the sky, and then in mid-air, leap into Matterspark to dash across the arena and arc chain a group of enemies.
The team has already seen players pairing abilities with different exotic perks and aspects to create some really crazy builds.
We know this is only the beginning and can't wait to see what happens once players get their hands on this kit.
Choice is real. And every choice you make will lead you here. To who you're supposed to be. Eyes up, weapon.
The gift is showing you what you must see.
Remove your scornful blindfold.